Hi, I'm Dan Herbert, course developer and tutor at Point Blank Music School. This is the final video in this series. We're going to focus on remote octave and multi-edit. We cover complete in many of our sound design courses at Point Blank. To find out more information on our courses online in London and LA, head over to pointblanklondon.com and also be sure to check out the other videos in this series. So we're going to check out the remote octave, and this is quite a cool feature which allows you to control the playback of individual sound blocks and cells from your MIDI keyboard. I'm going to use the Complete Control keyboard and plugin as it provides instant visual feedback on which notes are triggering which sound block, but you can use any MIDI controller you may have. So I've loaded the Snapshot Amberman, which is set to sequence mode, and if I hold a chord, you can then see how the light guide in the lowest octave changes to reflect the progress through the sound blocks. If I hold the first note of the remote octave, then it effectively solos sound block A. The next white note will solo sound block B, and each white note over the octave is assigned to a different sound block. So this will be sound block H, and then we can start to play a kind of sound sequence. So I can determine which sound block is currently playing, and the remote octave overrides whatever settings you may have in the progress mode. We can also control the different cells as well. So if I hold down one of these black notes, you can now see it's only playing cell 1 from all the sound blocks. Cell 2, cell 3, and cell 4. Now what you might also notice is if we look, for example, at sound block A, the second cell is actually deactivated, but as soon as I hold this key down, it reactivates it and enables all cells. Now this highest black note here, B flat, will maintain that. So if I hold it down and play cell 2, you can see it stays deactivated. So this is a really powerful feature when used with a sequence sound, but can also be used to manipulate sounds within note mode. There are two settings for remote octave, which you'll find in Control. And let's click on MIDI. So it's this section here, and we can specify which octave it's located. So C3, C2, C1. And we can also specify the MIDI channel number for triggering the remote octave, which could be useful if you have more than one controller. This also gives you an additional visual representation if you haven't got the complete control, and you can see again how it's enabling the different sound blocks. To the left of the MIDI section, we can specify the settings for pitch bend and mod wheel. So we can assign the mod wheel to any parameter simply by clicking on it, come to a parameter and touch that. And now if I move the mod wheel up and down, you can see how it's modulating the cutoff. The pitch bend is quite interesting, so as well as the range, which we can set to a maximum of 24, we can also control the style of it. At the moment it's set to smooth, so let's just come down to a different preset, something like bright band. Okay, so we've basically got 4 octaves in total, but the style is quite interesting, so we can switch it from smooth to semi. Let's just bring down the range down to an octave. So you can hear it stepping up semitones or major. So it's playing a major scale, minor, diminished, augmented. Or octave as well. In this middle area is multi-edit, and this is where we can link parameters together between different sounds using sound 1 as the master control. It's also useful to be able to tweak specific parameters across all sounds. So to display a specific parameter, you can either click on these shortcuts here to the right, or you can actually just click directly on a parameter and it automatically updates. So let's just offset these. I'm going to push this one up by +12, and it's really useful. It gives you a value down here as well for a lot of the parameters which don't actually display values as you're adjusting them. And now just link them together, so we're going to click on this link button up here. And so now when I increase the course control, they all raise up or decrease by exactly the same amount. If I click on the link button again, it switches to a minus sign, and this basically inverts it. Now if I push control number 1 up, you can see the course control for 2 comes down. If you want to reset a value, just double click on it, or if you want to adjust it, just click and drag up and down. Another kind of useful shortcut is if you right click, you can then redraw a specific shape or set all the parameters to maximum quite easily. To unlink, just click on the button again so it switches to a hollow circle.